Hello everyone, today we're talking about a bill that could potentially regulate firearms parts in a way that would require them to go through an FFL in the same way that a firearm frame, receiver, or a fully built firearm would have to go through a gun store in order to be purchased by someone like you or me. This bill is HR 1454, a federal bill, not a California bill. I'm going to be very clear in the future. I know a lot of people, I'm in California, I talk a lot about California stuff, but this bill is a federal bill affecting everyone. Very clear on that. The title of this is Ghost Guns Are Guns, and we're going to switch over to the screen here and give a little chat about this. So the Ghost Guns Are Guns Act, the purpose of this bill is to regulate currently the way the Democrats are focused on it. They are afraid of people buying polymer 80s or any sort of firearm kit. The Biden administration, as well as the representatives from states like California, New York, New Jersey, all the anti-gun states, they have been very afraid that these ghost guns are going to be wreaking havoc. I've talked in a previous video about how the concept of ghost guns aren't a real thing, and that the fact that you can't actually trace normal guns like they have a GPS in them, because they don't, and it just doesn't really work that way. But they want to be able to regulate what you can and cannot buy. And the problem with this is the way that they talk about these firearms kits, how they choose to interpret that, and how this potentially changes in the past and the future could affect many things more than just something like a build-buy-shoot kit that we saw targeted by the ATF. Remember a few months ago, the ATF was targeting Polymer 80 for their build-buy-shoot kits. It was a 80% frame, all the parts to complete it, all the parts to make a fully functioning firearm. All you had to do was manufacture the 80% frame into a fully built firearm frame and assemble it. They thought that was a little bit too easy, a little bit too readily converted, and even though nothing in there was an individual firearm, they said that the summation of the parts made it a firearm. Even if you could buy any one of the individual parts, bind them all together, that would be a firearm. So let's actually read what this would change. In paragraph 1, by striking "or any destructive device" and inserting "any destructive device" or "e," any combination of parts designed or intended for use in converting any device into a firearm, and from which a firearm may be readily assembled. So, any combination of parts designed or intended for use in converting any device into a firearm. That's really the part that concerns me, because this could very easily cover just simply 80% frames. But my concern is that they use this and go a little bit further. Do they start talking about buying the rails to go into a 3D printed Glock lower? Would that be considered the parts that are intended? Because the only purpose of buying those is to either replace the rails that you have in an existing gun, or to assemble a new gun. My concern really is that the ATF is going to start changing the definition of what they consider a ghost gun over time, and that if the legislators change it in a way that allows the ATF to have more freedom and control over what we do as private citizens, that's my fear here. I don't want you all to be totally afraid and go out and buy every single thing out there. This is just something to be aware of, because if we look at the co-sponsors, there are 88 co-sponsors, and if you live in California, like many of you do that watch this channel, there are 25 representatives, including Eric Swallomaballs, who said that he would nuke people, that the government could just nuke you, and that you should just give up, basically. Great guy, threatening to nuke his own constituents. Solid person. Thank you everyone that voted for him. So when you look at this, it's a pretty simple bill. The problem is that the impacts of it could be much larger than we might initially think. Think about it this way. You would think that a pistol brace, which the ATF has said in the past is legal, they might have said that brace is legal. You put that on one of your guns, and maybe one day they decide it's not legal. Or then you have a solvent trap, and then one day the solvent trap, they have little tiny dimples on it, even though the holes aren't drilled. Now those are suppressors. Or, hey, this bump stock is now actually a machine gun. Not that you can't put your bump stock on a gun, but that the bump stock itself is a machine gun, in the same way that a full auto MAC-10 or a full auto AR-15 is a machine gun. I don't want the ATF to have the power to work with something as vague as this. Would a Palmetto State Armory build kit, which, if you're curious, the link down in the description, the Linktree link, might have some interesting links that the government doesn't want you to know about. If you look at that, would those kits that have everything except the lower, would that be considered a kit? Maybe I'm just a little paranoid. Feel free to let me know that I shouldn't worry about this. If you have a reasonable belief that we shouldn't worry about this, leave a comment down below. If you're rational, well thought out, cite your sources, and have that discussion down below, I'll pin your comment, and I will feel better. It'll make me stop worrying about this specific bill. But this bill, HR 1454, is one that we should be aware of, and you should be contacting your senators, your representatives. This is currently in the House of Representatives, the House Judiciary Committee. You know, I don't really understand the names of these fucking committees. What does this... Whatever. You know, they end up putting shit like this in budget committees, and they just want to control you in every aspect of your life. Every single thing that you do, they want to have their fingers in and puppeteer it just a little bit. They want to get their cut, they want their taxes, they want more reasons to get involved. These kinds of laws are the kinds of things that create more and more interactions with private citizens and police. If they really thought that the police were the devil, which I don't. I'm really not an ACAB kind of person. If they thought that these police officers were truly the devil, why would they be continuing to write laws that put more and more people in contact with police every day? Think about how many laws have absolutely nothing to do with your actual public safety that might end up having a police officer having to or choosing to have the authority to exert their will upon you. Again, I'm not saying all cops are bastards. I really just don't agree with that. I just understand that the government is inherently looking to control everything that you do, and that the more power they give to the police and to themselves, the more interactions that the police can potentially do something bad, because police are normal people. Some of them are great. Some of them aren't great. Some of them are absolutely terrible. And I just recognize that. So the more laws like this, the worse we are off as a society, especially when it comes to how much power we allow the government to have over our lives. Especially when we consider that in the previous video that I posted yesterday, I talked about how felons who are convicted felons because they smuggled cassette tapes with copyrighted material on them in the 80s are now felons who can never own a firearm ever again. I think that these kits, honestly, for some people, are the only choice for them to have a means to protect themselves from a government or from people who might wish to do them harm. Disarming people is not the right choice. People should have the ability to protect themselves. I'm going on way too long about this, but it's just something that I'm kind of passionate about. If you have any input, questions, things you want to talk about, drop a comment down below. You guys know the drill. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous. Peace. I'm sorry if I sounded a little stuffed up. I'm a little bit sick. I don't know. I don't got the coof, which I'm glad about, but just a little stuffed up. So if my voice sounds weird, if I seem a little off as far as my energy on today's video and yesterday's video, I'm just a little sick, just a little bit worn down. But we're going to have a good day in the gym today, because even though I'm sick does not mean I'm going to make excuses. I have a home gym. All I got to do is walk in there and have a terrible day in the gym. A terrible day in the gym is better than a day that you spend at home doing nothing. 25% of Americans will die from heart disease this year. It's 1 in 4. Think about 4 of your friends. 1 of them might die of heart disease. Pretty shitty fact, right? I know that sounds pretty high, but that's coming straight from the CDC. But you guys know the drill. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. Have fun, be safe, stay dangerous, all that good stuff. Thank you.